So at that point, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's happening? Again? In my own house?
Again.
And so now he's walked me into the room and now he's pushed me forward onto the bed. Unlike the other person who just kind of pushed me in bed, I was like, I was like, I wasn't in a hold, so I was able to maneuver. Now my hands are like this and I'm face down.
On the bed.
That is the worst.
Oh my goodness.
That is the worst position to be in. And at that point, I had that feeling of doom. So when I say that other feeling was child's play, that one I was scared and also angry. Here I was terrified. I was terrified because I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. And even more terrified because at that point, I couldn't think of any physical way to get myself out. Second experience, I was 23, I think, 23, 24, between 23 and 24, or sorry, between 23 and 25. Okay. And um, this person was a brother to someone I knew.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't say that they were my friend like directly, but for example, when you have friends and they have siblings, you know what I mean? Like so,
Yeah.
but I have brothers, but you don't know my brothers. But see how you know each other, and you have a brother
Yeah.
too, or
Same
whatever.
way.
Like so,
Yeah.
that was
The
kind of
same
how I
way.
knew this
Yeah.
person. So by virtue of knowing the sister, I was around the brother because just life, right? So long story short, I had gone to their place for an event and I left my jacket at their house. And God bless Canadian weather, whereby you're spring, summer, you,
You can have
like what
all
we
three
experienced this
seasons
week, whereby in
or
May
four.
you have snow, right? So,
Yeah.
I'd taken a leather jacket with me, and while I was there, the weather was a bit too warm, so I took it off, right? It was like an outdoor kind of thing. And I took it off, I left it at their place, and I went downstairs or outside for the barbecue or what may you call it. Yeah, barbecue, whatnot.
Hmm.
And so I left and I forgot it. Again, back to the whole point of whether it changes. Sometimes it's hot and it's cold.
All
Long
in the
story
same
short,
day. Yeah.
bingo. I
Yeah.
forgot it there and I didn't even know where I left it. So by I guess happen chance you would say, maybe I'm not sure how long had passed, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, I'm not sure. I remember I bumped into him. I was with a friend of mine. I bumped into him and his friend, and he was like, "Oh, hey, hi, how are you?" Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "I'm good." And he said, "Hey, you forgot your jacket." And I said, "Which jacket?" And I said,
Ah.
"Oh, that's where it is now. Why I remember the jacket was because it was my first Danae leather jacket. Okay,
Oh yeah.
I had saved some monies for that jacket. It was not a
Good for
jacket where
you
you be
that
like,
you
it
own
was
that
not a
jacket in
jacket where you be like, oh,
23.
I'll get it later. It was my jacket. I'm there. Please, Biko, bring it. So, so,
Nah,
so
you
I
gotta
was like,
have that
oh,
one
really?
back.
So then I was like, oh, really? So I go, oh, wow. I said, oh, is it at your house? Right. I go, is your sister home? She said she wasn't. I said, oh, okay, well, I'll give her a call. And he said, oh, no, no worries. I'm just dropping off. So he said he was dropping somebody off, right? Um, and sorry, I'm getting flashes. So he said
Yeah.
he was
Just
dropping
take your
someone
time.
off and that he'll be back shortly and he can give it to me. I, again, it's come so natural to me that I don't even know when I'm doing it. It's when I reflect after that I realize, wow, I was even extra. I said, oh no, don't worry about it. Take your time. I'll come some other time
Hmm.
when she's home so I can make a visit. You see what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
jacket. Why couldn't I just
Yeah,
go
you
get
just
my
kind of,
jacket?
yeah,
Why couldn't I
just
just go
turn
get my
it.
jacket? But no, I said no. Don't worry about it. So then,
Yeah.
I bumped
Okay.
into him, and he was on his way out, and I was on my way in to a place, going to my place, and he said, "Oh, you know what? He'll give me my jacket." I said, "Oh, you shouldn't worry. I'll get it from my sister." He said, "No, no, no. I'll be back soon. Um, what's your number? If I'm back and it's not too late, you can either come get it or she can." So no problem. Again, not a big deal. This is somebody I've been around for like a
Mm-hmm.
while. I've never felt uncomfortable. If anything, I would say he was very hospitable. One of those people you go to their house, hey, you want a drink, want something to eat. He was very friendly and didn't
Wow.
overly mingle with your convo. Like you would come, he would entertain you, would give you something, refreshments, talk with you a bit, and then off he
And
went.
then just leave
So
you alone. Okay.
do you understand? So it wasn't somebody who over meddled. So I said, okay. So I gave him my number, not a big deal. And so, he happened to be in the same place. So the building I was in, he happened to be in it, and I asked, "Oh, what floor I lived on?" And I told him what floor I lived on. Just like in general conversation. "Oh, cool, nice building. What floor are you on?" "Oh, that's a nice view." Blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. Very conversational. My friend is there with me, by the way, so nothing flagged. And so the person went, and I went. I said, "You know what? I go to bed pretty early because I have work, but if it's after this time, don't bother because I won't pick up." So then I got myself ready to bed. I had a new job at that time. And so my phone started ringing. If my memory serves me correct, I'm not sure if it's 10 or 11, but to be honest, I don't think it matters what time of the day it was, but let's just say it was between 10 and 11. And so when someone keeps calling you, it's the vibrating of the phone. So I'm like, who's trying to call me? I didn't see his number, so I didn't know it was him. I'm like, who's calling me nonstop? So I pick up the phone, and he's like, "Oh, hey, it's me." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, oh yeah, hi, are you good?" I go, "Yeah, I have your jacket." I go, "Oh, thank you. Don't worry about it. I'm already getting ready for bed. It's kind of late. I'm tired." "Oh, don't worry. You don't have to bring it over. I'll just drop it off. You said you were on the so and so floor, right?" And at this point, I'm hearing ding.
Oh, he was
Already
already in the elevator.
bingo. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, fine. So at that point, I'm thinking, oh, this guy. Anyway, it's but the jacket again. I'm in my own home, in my own
In your
home,
own home.
my own home.
Wow,
Okay.
people.
So I get up, I get my coat, and my robe, is that what they call it? My
Mm-hmm.
robe, it's just the extra whatever. So I went
Yeah.
to the door, I looked through, it was him, I opened the door, and so the lights are dim, because again, you know how you don't want to entertain someone, so I didn't put on the lights, so that it wouldn't be,
Yeah, so he knows that he needs to take the message and just go.
not to be
I'm
rude, but
sleeping.
sometimes we Africans, like, we like, we don't always catch a hit sometimes, so I
It
was
just
not trying to give
flies
any,
through,
I was not trying to give any mixed messages about, like, yo, like, this is not a visit. It's a hand in my jacket. I'm not shut the
And
door in your face. Like, so
mhm.
I didn't. There was no plan for him to come in.
Yeah,
So I go
no
to the
chit
door.
chat.
So I look through the hole. Oh, it's him. I open the door. I go, "Oh, thank you." So I grab my jacket. So I go, "Oh, but thank you." I shut my hand. He goes, "Oh, okay, here you go. No problem. Anytime." He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Oh crap. Can I use your washroom?"
Oh.
So then, what do you say to your
Oh man.
friend's brother who
Who
wants to
wants to
use the
use the
washroom, who
washroom
has welcomed you into their home
and brought
many
your
times,
jacket for
right?
you?
Do you say no? Again,
No, you don't say no.
I was like, okay. And
I
again,
wouldn't
lucky
say
for
no.
me, the
Yeah.
washroom was right at the door. So you know how different houses have different layouts? As you walk into the immediate right, the washroom is there. So when I opened the door partially, I said, okay, but don't be too loud. Um, my roommate or my tenant is there.
Sleeping, yeah.
She's sleeping and she's a flight attendant, so she wasn't there. I lied.
Ah.
See what I'm saying about being security man? Now
Oh my
that
goodness,
that can't,
Tokes. You are
girl.
just a
That's why I'm saying
level
that
that I've
when
never
you can
seen or
do it
heard of.
all, sis, and it may not even matter in the end.
Damn, Tokes. To even think that at that time of the night when you're
I'm
tired, ready
I'm
to
a
go to
I'm a
bed, you
quick
already
thinker on my feet. I
you
think quick.
are. I,
I
I
think
mean, I
quick
know you were
on my
at work,
feet.
but like this is another level, girl. Like sis,
And
this is just
and when I said
wow.
that, it was more of not wanting him to get comfortable to stay. Not necessarily of, oh, in case something might happen, he wants to hurt me. No, it was more of not wanting to get comfortable to stay, and just again the precaution. So he knew I had a roommate. I think I must have mentioned it at some point casually in a conversation
Mm-hmm.
with the sibling, and I remember saying, okay, and then when I said, oh, here's the washers. Oh, the washers is here. I go, yeah. He goes, oh, that's strange because every condo, the condos, the layout is not the same in
In
every
every single one
apartment,
of it.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure if they do that for rent, but so their condo, the layout was different from mine. My washroom was right at the door. Their washroom there in his place, you go in and you make
You
a
go
left.
into the actual
You really are into the
into the person's
house.
house.
So that
Yeah.
was shock number one. Like, oh, this is a different. I go, yeah, it's a different layout right here to the washroom. So like, I kind of stood in a way that you couldn't walk in further. So I kind of ushered him, like, yeah, right here, the washroom right here. So and I stood there in the hallway. He came out. Oh, okay, I go, oh, thank you so much, right? He go, okay, and then he kind of like walked, like, oh wow, let me just have a quick look.
Oh wow.
So at that point, at the most, I'm thinking, this person must have plenty more. Do you understand? Again, I'm not even thinking danger. I'm just thinking, person is well, this one now was a deal.
Voila.
And then,
Plenty.
as in, so it's just like kind of people like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, yeah. I go, so shoot. Mind you, this is my attitude the whole time. So, but on that, they say, okay, I go, you guys can come and visit some other time, right? So, you guys are always very great hosts. I would like to return the, the
Sure.
gesture to you guys. So as he turns around to try and walk out, he has to walk by my room because when you walk in, the washroom is first, and then my bedroom is the next thing, and then the living room and the roommate's room is further in. So when he only passed my bedroom a little bit, so he didn't get into the apartment too much, and then he turned around to walk out. But mind you, when I came out to come open the door, my bedroom door is partially open. Again, I didn't anticipate anybody coming
in. Yeah.
in,
Exactly.
right? And to be honest, I'm not even sure if that would have made a difference, but just. So then on his way, he's, oh, where's this? I go, oh, that's my room. And then he walked in. And at that point, I got mad. So again, I'm not even thinking security yet. At this point, I'm just annoyed, thinking, okay, this guy's doing
Yeah,
a little
you
too
have
much.
more than overstayed your welcome.
Yes, like I've always known he was a little bit of a extrovert.
Oh,
like
those people.
very like, you're doing too much, sir. Like, you know what I mean? Like I knew he had those tendencies, but so at that point I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, dude, like, you're not, like, seriously, why are you in my room? Right? Some people are very free. They don't care. You can walk in and out of their room. They don't care. But I don't. To me, that's my space, right?
No.
And so at that point, I'm like,
Yes or
hey,
no?
I said, hey, that's. I go, yeah. And then he jumped. So he walked into the room and he jumped on the bed. So I was like, so at that point, I was like,
Are you
I
what?
was,
Who
yes,
does that?
he does that. So then I said, I almost said his name. I said, so and so. I said, no, hey, I'm not. Please stop that. I said, this is my room. I don't like anybody. No, I'm not anybody. I said, yeah, I don't mean anybody like random people. I mean people, a human being. You are a human being. I said, in my room like that. So, please,
Please
I'm
leave.
gonna entertain
Let's
you all
go.
later. So then again, in hindsight, this is kind of his way of trying to smooth his way into my space, but I wasn't having it. So he stood up and then he starts walking out. Again, at no point in time I do not feel any danger or unsafe. At most, I feel annoyed or a little
Yeah,
irritated.
because
Like,
that was kind of like a jokey, inappropriate, or
yes,
jokey behavior.
absolutely. I'm
Where the
still not
person's
thinking
just
anything. So
yeah.
I get to the door again. I don't know why it's always at the door. It's always, you know what? The light bulb just went off on me. It always happens at the door, like in sense that where it's like the things I do that kind of block or prevent if I'm going further. It's like when I get to the door to either finally leave, it's like, this is my last chance. Let me take it. Do you get what I mean? I feel like that's what happened to me in the past, where the person's like, oh, this is my last chance. She's gone. She's never, ever going to be in this position again. Let me take my chance. I think that's kind of what happened. So this time around, I'm at the door. I said, thank you. I'm about to close the door, foot in the door. So I can't shut it, right? And I'm like, okay, well, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. Then I don't know what he said, but at that point, his demeanor kind of changed. So I'm like, okay, I think he's trying to get fresh here, and I'm not really sure why, because I'm confused. One, you have a girlfriend. Two, you've never like the other person, I knew that they had interest because they had expressed it.
And if
This
it's
person
yeah.
had never given me an indication that they were in the least bit interested. If they did, I sure as hell didn't catch it. It was so far left to me that I think it took me a while to like clue. That's why it took me a while to clue in as to what he was doing, because I didn't think that was the end goal. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
So then I was just
totally.
like, so he put a leg in the door, and I was like, dude, I need to go to bed. I'm tired. Night. Like stop, stop playing around. I don't remember what he said, but that's when I caught the vibe that okay, I think he's looking for something more. So I said, where's your girlfriend? You need to give her a call, because. But like, I think you know, yeah.
Yeah.
You know how I make jokes, right?
Yeah.
I literally was making jokes. I was like, "Where's so and so? Girl, get out of here and go call so
Yeah.
and so." You know, I'm not the one.
Like bye.
And again, in swift movement, while I'm saying call you or whatever,
Mhm.
bye, and I think he's leaving. He turns, he takes me, he turns me around, and mind you, at this point, I've had training. I've had CBSA training and immigration training, but I hadn't had corrections training. But I've had formal training, so which is kind of why later, as things progressed, I realized that this was really serious. So imagine you're facing someone, and the person just takes you very quickly, turns you
Turns you
around.
around.
So now he's behind me, and I'm in front, and then he holds me. So now my hands are locked. This is all very quick. Like I wish I could demonstrate that with
I'm
demonstrate it
sure.
with a person. It's when I say it's fast, you
Wow.
can't say ABC. It's done.
No, because you're still
Before I could
processing what's going on. And
before
then
I
here
could
you
say
go. Something
yes,
else happens.
before I could say ABC, he had flipped me around, grabbed me, and then now you know me, IJ. I'm not lepa, okay? You know, I
Lepascious.
I'm not lepashos. So
Yeah, I know what you
when I
mean.
say this person lifted me off the ground,
Yeah,
that's when I knew,
I
okay,
know
we are in
what you
trouble,
mean.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
there's the way person go take you, turn you, and they go take turn twos. It's not the same, oh. Not the same
No,
power. Oh.
it'll not be the same
Not
as
the same
sister.
power. Oh. I know when you're
Mm-mm.
somebody who is training, you think you are strong. I've always had that pull. Oh, I'm strong. I'm powerful. Blah blah blah. When power meets power, you need to be careful. Never
Yeah.
overestimate your um your physical strength. And even sometimes it's not even about that, it's about maneuvering, right? Someone can be very strong, but if you get them in a proper maneuver, then you have the upper hand. And that's why I
Absolutely.
realized very quickly that things were going south real quick, because he had me in a proper lock. Like you turn someone around and you've clamped them. So I was clamped like this. So even in training, if I wanted to do some of the things that they teach us, and I drop down and do whatever, my hands were not even free for me to
Do
elbow to the
anything.
side.
Yeah.
Like when you do training, you tell you somebody holds you at the back or grabs you, you drop down your weight so that way you offset the person's weight and height, and then you dig in very quickly, and then you try to maneuver. When your hands are that tightly
Wow.
locked, there is no doing that. The most you can do is drop weight and lift off. But like again, it was fast, and when I did try to lift off, he used that momentum to carry me. So I'm like this, and
So he carried you into
he's
the
lift
apartment
he's
then?
yes. So we're at the door, right?
This
So
is
he's
all
flipped
happening at the door. Yes.
in my own house.
Yes,
Okay,
in your own
flips me
house.
around, holds me like this, and now I'm facing into the apartment. He's behind me. He lifts. So I'm trying to use my momentum to be like, what are you doing? And then to my surprise, he lifts me up. He lifts me up partially and walks. So you know how you lift something, you walk the person.
Like,
You know,
yeah,
children, when you hold them, you kind of walk them. The moment I saw he could do that, I was scared, because I knew that. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not joking with it. I'm not joking with.
this is
Not
not
joking
a
with
joke.
small peanuts.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
It is far
Yeah.
from
Oh
me.
my goodness.
Um, um, I was like, whoa. So at that point, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's happening again in my own house?
Again. Again, Tokes. Again.
That was the thing. I was like, again in my own house, and so now he's walked me into the room, and now he's pushed me forward onto the bed. Unlike the other person who just kind of pushed me in bed, I was like, I was like, I wasn't in a hole, so I was able to maneuver. Now my hands are like this, and I'm face down.
On the bed.
That is the worst.
Oh my goodness.
That is the worst position to be in. And at that point, I had that feeling of doom. So when I say that other feeling was child's play, that one I was scared and also angry. Here I was terrified. I was terrified because I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. And
Again.
again, and even more terrified because at that point, I couldn't think of any physical way to get myself out. At that point, I knew that if he was sorry.
Take your
Um
time. Take your time. Your
Ijoma,
time.
now go and save me that day. Ah,
Just take your time. And then you can yeah.
there was no amount of training or anything I had done at that point that was going to help me physically. I think it was that quick thinking. Again, I think quick with my feet. You know, when he had held me tight and I couldn't like do the whatever, I knew, okay, let me try and level off. But because he I don't know if he anticipated it or whatever, but he was able to still balance
Yeah, lift.
my weight and his weight and move me with it. And then when he put me down, I was still, and he still held onto my hand. So somebody else would have lost a grip a bit, and I could not unwind myself. Imagine hugging yourself like this and being flat on your bed and someone on top of you. What are you gonna do? You can't lift off. That's dead weight on top of you. You can't lift off. You can move left and right, but you not enough to prevent the person from doing what they wanted to do. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, I'm done for. And now, mind you, I know that my roommate is not there and there's nobody in the house. So this help is not coming from nowhere.
No.
So I had to think fast. And the best I could come up with was, get off me now. My room is going to call the police. Stop. I'm serious. And I was yelling. And then at a point, he just calmed down. I said, stop it. Like I was screaming, like, get off me, get off me, get off me. Sarah, call the police. And then he got up.
Oh my goodness.
He got up.
Wow.
And he was like, calm down. Just trying to, I don't know what he said. At that point, my mom was just like, get out, get out. So he got up and I was like, get out.
What are they even going to say? Like, I mean, anybody who finds
The
themselves in
same
this
thing,
kind of
same.
situation,
I was
I
just trying to
want
play
to
with
challenge any
you.
man
I
who's
was just,
this
that's the end
episode.
of, I was trying to play
What
with you.
excuse are you gonna give? What kind of play is this?
That's not play.
That is not.
That is not play. Like this.
So it had to take you. If you, it's not play because
It took
has
me
to take
talking about
you
calling the cop.
threatening that you
Somebody was gonna call the cop, not me, because
call the
clearly
police
I
for the person to get off. So that's no play.
yes, because guess what? I couldn't even call. So if it was just me, I called the police. How? With which hand? If you're not Siri, this
I just bless God
if it's
for
not that
your
there's Siri, you
quick
can say Siri, call blah
thinking
blah blah blah. There's no
skills.
Siri. There was no Siri back
There's
then.
no
No,
this
and
one
even
no
if
day
you,
for Alexa.
even
Alexa, no, Alexa ain't gonna answer this
oh
one.
my God!
You
Even
know,
if there was
no
most people would not think to tell it to call. Let's be honest. If in an emergency, it's not going to come to your mind to call tell
I'm
Alexa
just
or Siri.
really amazed.
But now I mean, God forbid it, if I was in a
yeah.
position.
I'm just amazed that you know, with all these things going on, the adrenaline, the shock, the
Quick
fear,
thinking.
that
Quick.
you were still able to quickly gather yourself and gather your thoughts to
And
utilize the roommate that's really not there.
That wasn't
You know
there.
what I mean? To do
Thank you,
that.
Sarah,
That's
even though you're not there. Thank you for helping me.
amazing.
And I think ultimately living in a country, so this person is also Nigerian background, right?
Second
and this is not trying to say that, oh, this happens in Nigeria. This happens everywhere in the world, right?
Of course.
That's why we had the Me Too movement, right? So this happens everywhere in the
Yeah.
world, but the difference is accountability, right? Right. So the difference is when someone says, "I'm going to call the police or call 911," it has a different meaning here than it
Yeah.
has
Oh,
back home.
if that means nothing in Nigeria. We all know
Even
what
at the Nigeria,
happened
say I go call
recently.
police, call them now. If you're not careful, the police will
Police
come here and do their own too. I've heard
police
about
will
that.
tell you they don't have fuel in the car. You need to bring 5,000 or whatever naira
That
that
one
they're
is
gonna
that
ask
one.
you to bring.
To me, that's they're asking you to bring so they can go. How about people I know who have had an incident? They go to police and the police will call you after. Meet me somewhere. You want me to follow up on the case? Meet me in this hotel room.
Hmm?
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I'll leave that person to tell their story themselves, whereby something happened to them and they went to the police and the police will say, "Meet me here. That's so we can
Police
discuss it
that is
further."
supposed to defend you.
Wanting to
So
victim,
this
wanting to re-victimize an assault victim or survivor. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, who, like, so it's a, so the fact, so the power of 911. So,
in
of
this
course,
part of the
God,
world is just
yes, power of
amazing.
911, God, and quick
Yes.
thinking, all those things, was what got me out of that. Because some people
Quick
will still go
thinking.
ahead and and say and take their chances. And then, of course, he got up and then he started to, back. He started back walking out, and I'm like, and he says, "Oh, just calm down, just playing with you, blah 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 blah. Take it easy. You're too tense. You're too uptight." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm tense." And I
Please
pretty much
take
at
your
that point,
place
I'm
else
like
and
pushed.
take it to yourself. Keep it to
Absolutely.
yourself.
At that point, I kind of like, let walked and closed the door, locked it, and I don't think I've my body has had that much shakes. I was just shivering, and I was like, "What just happened? Did that just happen? Did that
Mm-hmm.
just happen?" Like I couldn't sleep that night,
It would be
and
surreal.
I thought to myself, should I call the police? I just stayed there thinking, how did that just happen, and how that happened to me again
Again.
under different circumstances. But it's like, even as strict as I am, I remember I went to work the next day and I was just I'm a very bubbly person, as you obviously know, and I'm
Yeah.
very, I was
Mhm.
like, silence of the lambs, nothing. And people were like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" I remember then I was training, we had just hired, a group of staff to do some outreach work, and I was training them and I was just not myself. And, I just sat there and then one or two had come to me and said, "What's going on?" And I just said, "I can't believe this, but I almost got raped in my house last night." And they were like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Yeah." And I kind of told them what happened, and they were like, "Wow, did you call the police?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "And say what?" Like, I just, at that point, I didn't want to deal, like, I felt like, oh, thank God I escaped it, but I didn't want to, at that point, relive.
Yeah, the
Or,
experience of
yes, by
going
having
through the
to
police report.
make a formal
You have to make
report,
a formal
go
report.
question the person. How would they charge or would they not charge? Based on what happened, or do you see what I mean?
There's,
Like,
yeah, investigation will need to be done,
it's
and that takes time, a lot of
and I yeah,
questioning.
and I wasn't ready to deal with all that. So I just said, you know what? No, I just said at this point, now I know what I'm dealing with, I'm not going to. And, just that whole fear of there's nothing worse. There are very few things that are worse of being assaulted or having a near experience like that, and then finally having the courage to speak up and then not being believed or be blamed.
Yeah.
So the first example, someone will still say, "Oh, but you still went to the person's house."
Hmm.
So because I went to someone's house, that gives them a license to try to assault me? No.
No,
Okay,
not
this
at
second
all.
time I was in my own house.
But not exactly.
I was in my own house, minding my own business, trying to go to bed. Yes? What about that? So I told the person, no, you can't use the washroom. Pee on yourself.
I guess this is.
Like,
I hope this is eye opening to a lot of our viewers and listeners because
you have to be careful.
you
And you can never be
even
too
when you're
careful.
careful, you
You
can
cannot
never
be
be
too
too careful
careful.
is what I would say, because even
Yeah.
when you're careful, like in your case, you were extra careful.
Hmm.
Like all the things you've shared that you did, including
Hmm.
calling a friend, these are some of the things that I didn't even do, and I thought I was careful person, you know.
I said I
So
was extra about it.
you were
I was
extra. You were
extra.
extra careful, but still. So it's not even about that. It's about us making sure that we are raising the right boys and girls out
Yes.
there. Like
And
that's
mindful
just
about
the
it
only
and being
way.
respectful because
Yes.
Nothing in my behavior and what I said and what I did
Warranted that.
warranted that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And even let's even just entertain the idea that, oh, I was interested or I was given a green light and the person came and said I'm not interested. I don't want to do. I
But
don't want.
then,
You
yeah,
understand? Like if and even if a girl, you and a girl doing being cozy and getting fresh
yeah,
or
you're
whatever you
getting
want to
freaky,
call it,
getting down and
and
whatnot.
and then
At
if
some point, if it's a
she
no,
or he
no
said
is
he's not
no.
doing, he's not doing,
You're
Abby.
not doing again.
If a guy and a guy are together and the guy get up and say he's going, will the guy hold him down and
I've always asked that question. I was
if
like,
Oga say they go say no they do again, what will you do? You
if
go
the
and hold
guy
him
is like,
down
I
and
don't want
do you
to do
understand?
again.
And
I
you,
don't
you
want.
get up and we
The
leave.
guy will just get up and go. Is the girl is never ever doesn't have the strength to be like, no, you must do now. Sit
And
here. You
even if
know,
you say nah man, you will come out and you just
you
leave.
will just get up and
Abby?
go. But with women, you know, it's like, what do you mean you can't do again? You told me to come here.
Oh,
What
my
do you mean?
boyfriend, I took you for dinner. I bought
I
you
bought
chapman
you this
and
and
meat
that,
pie
and now
and
you're
fish pie.
telling me,
When there. So like
mm,
even if so like it's like you did it not do it's like so to me to this day I still sat down. So of course if you ask did I ever tell his sibling, I didn't. To this day I never told. And
so
you know
you didn't tell your friend, okay? And
if
the people that you
if she
told,
ever watches this video,
mhm,
she might figure out that it is she might figure out that it's her because well depending on how you edit it even then she might suspect. um we're not well of course due to this experience I distanced myself. She may not have realized it but like I made myself unavailable. And I wasn't really somebody who went out much to begin with, so it was easy for me just to disconnect. So after that incident happened, the only people I had told or shared it with was obviously people at work, um, and one of my other friends who I used to work with before, and I didn't say anything. And then I want to say maybe a month or two later, um, there was something, an event that was going to happen, and I would, if I went, I would see him. I didn't want to go. And my other friend kept saying, let's go. You never go out. You just like your old person and the young person's bad. Like, come on. I said,
yeah.
I can't go. And then she said, no, this time I'm going to stay on your matter. You're going out. At what age? You're acting like one old mama. I said, girl, okay, let me be for real. This is beyond my regular. I'm not in the mood. I, I'm a bit scared
Mhm.
or uncomfortable. And she's like, what are you talking about? And so I told her what happened. Again, I was afraid to tell her because me and her, the mutual friend, the person's sibling is a mutual friend of ours, and she
Yeah.
just shook her head and just said, "Stupid, stupid guy." And I was like, I
Oh.
said, I said, I can't believe that this happened. She said, I believe you. And she said, you know what? You're right not to tell her.
Oh.
She said, you're right not to tell her. She said, because it will backfire.
So maybe her sister. So maybe they already know.
She said, if you tell her, one or two things. She said, if you tell her, she might know, act like you're lying and make a big fuss about it and
Mm.
ruin your reputation or spread the news beyond what you're comfortable with. Like now, anybody who comes across, oh,
Mhm.
can you believe so and so said this? Do you get what I mean? And then, but deep down inside, she would know, but act like she didn't know. And then she said, or two, she might be so in denial and not believe it's even possible because she would never want to believe that her brother can do something like that. Period. So I said to
Yeah.
myself, I that would actually really hurt me way more if I spoke up and she didn't believe me.
That's why a lot of people
That
don't
would
tell
do a
their
number, which
story.
is yes,
You
absolutely. And
know.
people say, why wait so long? Why was it long? Now me today talking about this is not me of when it happened to me. I'm way more comfortable having this
Yeah.
conversation than I would have been back then. For many reasons. World has changed, I'm older, more
Of
mature, blah blah blah
course,
blah, and
many
so on and so
reasons.
forth. So I understand why people don't always go immediately. Plus, even if you have to go and make a formal statement, do you know what it takes?
And we need to
People always talk
stop
about
with
that.
that though.
Have you ever dealt with the police in that regard? If you haven't, I have. Because I have a friend who was raped. Another story. When we were teenagers, she was
Oh
raped,
my
and I
goodness.
convinced her to go to the police. This person was older, um, and that was her first. So imagine a person's first experience being raped. That's what happened to her, unfortunately. And so I said to her, "No, we must go to the hospital, to the doctor." And I really put pressure on her. And she said, "No, her parents. She was afraid of what her parents would think. They would say that the shame." Because in fact, when it first happened to her, and she called me, I said, "You need to go to the hospital right away, because you don't want this to now turn from this to you catch something and you get pregnant for this person. You need to go to the hospital. They need to do a rape kit. And even if you don't want to even go to that level, they need to give you something to make sure that you minimize any issue, any
any
further
kind of
negative
health
issue."
issues. Yeah.
And because she was a minor, she wasn't someone who could just leave her house. So for you to imagine how old she was, right? She couldn't just leave her house. She needed permission to leave her house. And she wanted to leave her house. She couldn't tell her parents she was going to. At that point, I'm like, "Honey, this is two things. You either tell your parents and go to the hospital, or you just leave, go to the hospital and come back and get a beating, like whatever. Like you know what I'm saying? This is serious stuff." Eventually, she told her parents. She was trying to leave the house. They cornered her. They didn't let her leave, and she broke down. She told them. What would her father say? "What were you doing there?
I was so afraid that that was what you were gonna say.
What were you doing there?" "No, I don't want any rape kit. Don't bring any shit to my family." I repeat, "I don't want to bring any shame to my family. I'm not interested in any court or any police matter. Nobody asked you to go. What are you doing there? Why did you not sit down for your house? They walk up another place." That was her father's response. So I eventually convinced her to go on her own. And she went to the hospital, and they took care of her in that sense, but they didn't do a formal rape kit, right? Because of the parents. So when I finally convinced her, I think maybe a month or two later, to finally go to the police station, I was surprised, because now I don't know if it's the area that she lived. Again, this is high black populated area.
Okay.
The attitude of the police towards certain people, certain communities. I don't know if that played the picture, but now that I've been in law enforcement, looking back at it now, I feel as if we weren't taken seriously. Okay, I feel like if she didn't look the way she looked and was in a different neighborhood, that wouldn't have gone
It
down
would
the
have
way
made
it
a
did.
difference. Mm-hmm.
She went in, and she told them what happened. The person was like, "Well, technically the age of consent, so Canada has changed the legal age of consent several times. So at one point when I was a teenager, it was 16. At some point it was 14, and then it's changed back and forth. And even then, now different age groups have different rules about being above 18 and being below. It's not as strict. So yeah, one has to actually look to see what the rules are specifically in Canada. It's not like the US, where it's standardly 18 for the most part, right? So at that time, I believe it was 16, and I believe she had just turned 16. So the person, basically the cop was saying that because she's of legal age of consent, like it now has to be proven that it was rape, right?
Right.
But if she was below the age of consent, then it's been statutory rape, right?
Yeah, right
Whether
away.
or not she was consented or not, because at that point the argument is you cannot give consent below a certain
Yeah,
age.
yeah, exactly. You can't give consent if you're underage.
Right, and then basically said to her, "Also, we can go question him, blah, 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 but we don't have enough evidence." Basically, discouraged it from going forward. And I remember thinking at that point, at that young age, if you knew what it took me to make her come in here,
You wouldn't just disregard
like
with those
she
kinds
was
of
just jealous. She was like, "You
statements
see, I didn't want to come anyway. Now you made me go there, talk about it all over again, and nothing." Right, and this is
for
why I
nothing.
pushed for her to go,
For
was because the
nothing.
person lived in her building. And so she would often bump into this person in the elevator or in the lobby. So imagine seeing somebody who attacked you or raped you. Do you know what I mean? And then you keep
I
seeing.
know. Well, I guess I don't know, but I can,
No,
I
but you
guess
can imagine, right?
imagine. Yes.
So that was my friend. I was probably 15, 16 at this time. So that was kind of like, ooh, okay. So that's another letdown, right? So it even made me even more like careful about, oh, I need to be my own police. I need to be my own security. And another thing I remember that I didn't mention before was that I used to do was when I was walking at night. So whenever I was walking at night or walking when it's not fully populated, I always pre-dialed my number. I always pre-dialed 911. There wasn't, how now we have emergency button you just press.
Yeah.
There wasn't that
Yeah.
back then.
Now you have
So
those
I would pre-dial it to
functions.
911, have it in my pocket, have my thumb on the send button in my pocket. So when I was walking from campus, from one building to another building, my hand was on it. If
You guys
anything
didn't have
happened,
campus security when you were
girl,
going to
I'm not waiting for no campus security. I was my own security. That was me. Like that's what I'm trying to
Okay.
say, that I was that girl who took it to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the sense
Yeah.
that I was uberly careful. Now I suspect that if I wasn't that extra about it, I mean this we won't be talking about a near experience. We
I
have been
don't.
talking about. I think, yeah, because I don't
It's
think
hard
anything
to
like
say, but I know I understand you. I hear
because
you.
what experience, I guess the thing is, if I wasn't extra cautious or took the step I took or knew the things I knew to be careful, extra careful, I wouldn't have been able to outmaneuver my way the way I did. Yes,
Mm.
you can always put the God factor in there. That's fine. But like the point is, people still get assaulted, and it's God. You,
Yes,
you get what I'm trying to say? So
absolutely.
that in itself is not going to be the be all and end all of not preventing you from that. I know in our culture we're very God forbid, God forbid. That's cool. God forbid many things, but
But many things are still
many things
happening.
happen. God
Yeah.
forbid not early death, people still die early death. God forbid people still have miscarriage, people still lose kids, people still die, and people still get sick,
Yeah.
people still, so many things happen. Saying God
God
forbid.
forbid babies being sick, but there are babies born sick and are dying every day in the
Exactly.
hospital.
So saying God
Um,
forbid or feeling God forbid, oh, it will never happen to me. Like that's all well and good, but you need to be mindful that just because
so
you say
let's
that and
talk
you
about
believe
some
that,
of that. Yeah, let's talk
yeah.
about being mindful.
Hmm.
I want to talk about that a little bit. So you told us a lot about how you were always cautious, some of the things that you did. I want to talk about our kids for little ones,
Hmm.
because this experience you just shared now of your friend was somebody who's younger, underage, possibly in some provinces. What are certain things that we can do? How can we prepare our boys and our girls, our men and our women about how to,
Safety and mindfulness.
safety, yeah, how to deal with like
Mm.
y- I feel like I don't want us to just prepare women because we
Everybody,
do
yeah,
this well.
yes,
We do this well
absolutely.
already, especially as Nigerian people. But
Hmm.
how can we also help them to, you know, if they find themselves in this situation? What are some of the things you can do to get yourself out of it? And you can put on your corrections hat, you can put on your, immigration security officer hat and help
Right.
answer that question.
I would say having that conversation early,
Okay.
even earlier than you perhaps may want to. I find that with each generation or with each group, that talk needs to happen much earlier. A lot of
Sooner.
people I know are saying they try to have a talk with their kids, and they're like, "We, you're 3, 4 years late. I already learned that. Matter
Yeah.
of fact, let me teach you something." Do you know what I mean? So
Yes. It's like,
first thing
what?
first is having that conversation very early,
Yeah.
and at a level at which at that age group they can understand. Even here in this part of the world, there are certain things that are embedded in the school system,
Yeah.
just as a prevention. It might seem extreme. So, for example, how when kids are potty trained and whatnot, when they're school age and they go to the washroom, they don't help them clean up.
Yeah.
They tell them to do it themselves. And if
Hmm.
they mess it up, then they wash their hand because they often don't want there to be any this person touch, this person touch. Because sometimes it's hard to tell what I was just helping them clean up and something else. Right. So that there's been safeguards being put into the system already for those of us who were here anyway, right? To help prevent that. So of course little girls and little boys, you have that talk with them about, oh, no one should undress you or whatever except for mommy and
Hmm.
daddy. Right.
Hmm.
We have to assume that mommy and daddy are safe. Like
Well, yeah,
let's
assuming
not
mommy and daddy is safe.
yeah,
Absolutely.
let's not even address the issues of people who get assaulted
Yeah.
by their own biological parent. Let's not even, yeah, that's a whole different
Or their
topic.
guardians. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a whole different
That's a
topic. But
different ball game.
let's deal with the fact that mom and daddy. So have that talk with with the kids. So even my daughter, I try to say things like, oh, like when we're playing or in the house, I would say, oh, don't play like this outside. Only mommy and daddy, okay? Nobody do this to you. Like
Hmm.
I say it to her in a way that I think she understand, and I reinforce it. And the older they get, they use more appropriate words, like
Hmm.
whatever you want to call whatever you want to call the area. Say no one touch you there, no one do this there. If anything happens, tell me. And if anyone says that they're gonna hurt me or scare you, always come to Mama and Daddy. We will always be safe. We will always help you, no matter what. Like, let your kids be comfortable coming to you to tell you stuff, even if they come tell you everything on the sun. Someone pinch me, that's fine, that's cool. Like,
That's
let
huge.
them get
Let them
comfortable
tell you
telling you
everything on
what
the phone.
happens.
It's
Yes,
cool.
and then you two also ask,
Yeah.
right? Every now and again, ask. When they're in the age where they can't say much. I have to say, as a mom, with the kind of mentality I have, I do have safeguards, but there are very few, if almost nobody, really have access to my child except for the daycare, and even and which you have to have as part of the world, right?
Yeah.
And even then, my heart is not. Even though I know she's safe, I'm
But you
my
worry.
my
Yeah.
yes, and
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to worry as much as I do, but I do. And a lot of things have happened lately, with the issue with the going Ini.
Yeah, with Eni, the girl who was, trying to be a good law-abiding citizen,
Yes,
looking for a job to become a taxpayer, and then she was taken advantage of and murdered.
that
It's
incident really triggered me. Like, of course, these things happen every day, right? But that one triggered me because I remember thinking to myself, that could have been anybody.
that could have been
That could have
anybody.
been me. Thankfully
Yeah.
she used the resources that she had, but it wasn't
Yes.
enough. It was thankfully it was enough for them to locate where she went and find the person,
And
which
find the
which for
person.
most people would not have occurred if not for the cookie crumbs that she left behind online before, and also with her friend and her family. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it wasn't enough to save her. But at least
No,
one
and
person
and that
involved.
could also be because the police were very late to the party. Well,
Ah,
late
Lord.
to helping her because they were contacted right away, but they said,
Mhm.
"Oh, it's not been, I don't know if it was 48 hours or
24
something,
hours or whatever they
24
claim to
hours, okay?"
say. Bring gas money.
Yeah, bring gas money that we just talked about earlier. And how is this going to help our country? Like, it's
And no genuine
it's
fear of
really
the
hard.
police when it comes to um, residential safety. So the fear the police that people have is, oh, I'm driving and I get stopped and harassed, right?
That's it.
That fear of police. But there's no fear of police of, oh, I'm doing something wrong and someone calls the police and they're going to come
Yeah.
quickly and
For
responsiveness.
order, right? For
That is not
protection
there.
of life and property. That's not what the
Like,
Nigerian
even
police
if
is
she had
known
called,
for.
I feel like even if she had called the police station directly, I don't think anybody
I
would have
don't think
come.
you would have done anything. They would have said, "Oh,
I think he would have still
there's
done
no
what he wanted
gas
to
in the
do.
car,"
I
or
feel, yeah, I think he'd have done what he wanted to
something.
do, and they probably wouldn't have traced the
It's
call, or
very
even like,
sad, but
yeah,
you were right.
there's no accountability. Like, I would say, where the difference between here and there, I would say, is there is no real accountability being enforced, right? They put the responsibility is solely on the girl. It's if something happens to you, it's your fault.
It's your
You
fault.
failed to prevent yourself from
Yeah.
being in a position where you will be assaulted,
Why
and
did you
that's it.
go there? I had
Or
someone who told me when she was taking the bike or taxi or whatever to the place
mhm.
and it was so far, why did she keep going? As somebody who asked me that question, and I'm
Everywhere
just
is
like,
fine.
what do you mean?
Isn't everywhere fine in
Everywhere, yeah,
Nigeria with
that's what I
traffic?
said. I said everywhere is far in Nigeria. At least I
With
know
traffic,
Abuja a
with
little,
traffic.
everywhere is far in most
Like,
places in
these things
Nigeria.
are happening next door. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's not like where she was located. Like, if she went next door, Jama,
That's
the
true
same
too. It could have
thing
happened next door.
could
It's not
have
even
happened.
about it being far away or being close
Yes,
by. Like in your case, it happened in your house. You were in your
exactly,
home, minding your own business.
exactly.
So it's not about the location. So Takumba, start to talk about. I know you shared that you shared your experience with certain people, and they all provided you with support.
Right.
Is there anything that you wished that you would have known before or after this incident, or do you wish that people had done after the incident?
When I say wish I had known, um, like, I mean, a sign on the forehead said he's going to attack you.
Yeah.
Biko run. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's. I don't think we thought about it many times. Each time I tell the story, I always think about what I could have done differently. Um, and the reality is, if it wasn't that day, it would have been another day. if you get what I mean, because when I feel like the first person I felt like the person that watched me was noticing me, was waiting for the opportunity, and because they didn't have none, you know, they were limited in how far they could go,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the one little sliver opportunity that they had, they took it. And I think
They
that's where the
grabbed it real
desperation
quick.
came in.
Yeah.
Was, oh, for the past 2 years I've been waiting for an opportunity. I want to take this opportunity by force, right? Second time, that was not applicable because I've known this person, what, 6 months at this point? I'm not sure, 6 months or more, but I've been around them quite a bit. I'm comfortable. I was not concerned. In fact, at that time, if you were to ask me who I would feel more comfortable being alone with, I would have
Hmm.
said the second
The
the
second
second
person.
person,
Yeah,
because
I agree
only
too.
because they did not express interest. I did not feel they had interest, and I had not shut them down. So I didn't feel like that was even there. Like I was just like I literally was saying, "Where's your girlfriend? Like, do you actually know who you're talking to? Like, are you like?" I was still making jokes. I literally did not think it was serious. I just thought I did. I just because I was like, when did that one start?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you can't go from 0 to 100. Like, I mean, for me, like usually, I mean, is that how people are moving these days now? Like, you 1 minute you see
Yeah.
me, yeah, my sister. Next minute, oh yeah, enter the room. Like, is that
Uh,
what people are doing?
yeah.
Because
Our
I
president
thought
say women belong in the
in the
kitchen and
other
the
room,
other room.
oh,
So
okay, may I no
some
verse.
very uneducated and
May no verse because I'm thinking. I
yeah.
thought like typically you expect that. Not that you expect somebody who I don't know how to describe it. I didn't even think the person was interested. Does that
Yeah.
like someone might say, why does that matter? Because it made me see it coming even less.
Yeah. The reason I asked that question is
Mhm.
because just in case for those people, because I know there will be some of those out there
They'll say,
who
oh, you
will
shouldn't have
say,
this, shouldn't have this. You can say that
Exactly.
all day to them.
That's
Oh,
there you
you
go.
shouldn't, yeah, you shouldn't.
You
Cannot pass
shouldn't,
my own,
but
you shouldn't. I've thought
yeah,
about it all.
that's why. And I like that from the beginning, you just showed us the type of human being that you are, the kind of person you are in the sense of being always cautious from the get-go as a human being because of the way you were raised as a really sheltered and protected way. So you kind of
Right.
carried that into your adult life and you were always cautious, but didn't even matter that you did all of that. But I asked that question for a reason because I know that there might be people out there who would say but this and that, but it's clear that
I
there was
mean,
no buts or ifs.
to be, yeah, and if someone is targeting you, that's the other thing is there are crimes of opportunity, like so in law enforcement they're targeted crimes, right? Where there's the forethought, which is why, for example, when it comes to like murder, there's first degree murder, the second degree, there's manslaughter,
Yeah.
because the intent and the preconceived decision to do something, right? So that's why you hear things like crime of passion, because someone may not have cut out or set out to do that ahead of time, but then opportunity presents itself and then they take it,
And then
right?
they take
Whereas
it.
sometimes some people are planning, right? And so I feel like the second person, I don't again, this is just my opinion, I don't necessarily think they had been planning an opportunity where they were going to attack or see them more with me.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
well, I guess it's possible the person might have been interested or whatever, but never voice it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then because this person is somebody who felt that there was a certain level of pride or confidence or arrogance, right? For you to feel like, oh, I'm comfortable, I have money, I have whatever. So if I,
Mm-hmm.
so you know how certainly our culture,
Yeah.
like when a guy feels like he has money, if he
Yeah, they feel
makes a,
invincible. They
if
can do
yes,
anything.
yes, and if he makes a pass, it's like expects you to jump on it,
Oh yeah,
right?
because I've got
And
money.
right, and then when you're not moved by when they're flexing, it's like, oh, you're not moved by what I'm doing, then it's like, oh well, whatever, I'm just gonna. So it was just, I really think he must have thought that when he made the advance, or or took force, I was going to yield. And when I didn't yield, it was good enough handle. That's basically what it was. And when he saw that, okay, no, I'm not joking around. You are gonna get arrested and you're gonna go to jail, like potentially, right? Because if I hadn't mentioned my roommate, right, and or didn't know there was somebody in the house potentially, because there wasn't, but if he had thought there was somebody in the house, or that there was no one in the house, I believe he wouldn't have, I'm certain he wouldn't have stopped when he stopped. I have no doubt in my mind about that, because he had already gone way far enough. And you know, I don't want to get all graphic, but like he was ready to go.
Absolutely.
Was ready to
Without a
go.
doubt.
That was
The
just
way
my
the
saving
descriptive,
grace.
absolutely. You described it really well for us, quite vividly. So
Mhm.
there's no doubt in my mind that it would have gone to full on
Right.
sexual assault if
Hmm.
you did not quickly think on your feet and God's favor to help you
Yes,
escape.
absolutely. Because because in some cases you can say that and it wouldn't work, and the person will still go ahead anyway.
Absolutely.
And now the worst has happened, and now a lot sometimes people who are predators also prey on the fact that you wouldn't say anything to anybody because you don't want to
Yes.
relive it, you don't want the shame, and you don't want to go through all that.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to go
Because the
from
shame is
making a
always on the women,
yes,
never,
there's the shame,
never on the men.
there's the long process. It's not like it's simple. Oh, someone hurts you, today's done. How many cases do we hear about in the media about something
Yeah.
happening and it's a year or two later before they go to court?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
for the next God knows how many
So
years,
you're just, oh
spend your
my
time making
goodness.
interview, writing evidence, then somebody will now be cross-examining you, and then now be going to investigate your past. Oh, look at this picture. Look at this day. On this day, did you do this? On this day, did you do that? Like,
Hmm.
then you are put on
And why
trial.
did you wait before we even get to that part?
Mm.
Wow.
You
Take
said
over.
it's so like it's something that people don't want to go through, and I don't blame them. You know, I definitely have
Not
to
at all.
say that
Absolutely.
for any, so, which is why I say never ever make a false accusation against somebody, because what you're doing it's hurting severely people who have genuinely
Been through
been
that.
been hurt and then drown. Of course, there's not that many people who come and lie. It's more people who are telling the truth but can't prove it, right?
Hmm.
Compared to people who would come up and make false accusation. That I feel like it's not something you want to just come out and just say, right? Unless you have something huge to gain in the back end, would you put yourself out like that, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the backlash that comes with it. And people have gotten away and away. I remember when that whole Ini case. I remember telling my husband, I said that I said they should go and look at that guy's history. She's not the only one.
She can't be the only one,
She's
and
not
she's
the
not
only
it
one.
was
I said this. He's
too
been doing this.
calculated
He's been
to,
doing this for a
yeah.
while. You know, and it's been progressive. He's started with molesting at some age and must have graduated to forcing himself on
Hmm.
somebody. Because if you saw, I don't know if you've seen the interview where they interviewed him and they asked him questions. Did you ever see
I
that
haven't seen,
video?
no, not yet.
He did a video, so they did a press conference because there was a rumor that he had killed himself, so they had to do a press conference to show that he was still alive. That press conference
Okay.
is also very embarrassing, but if you have time to watch it, feel free. And they asked him questions. This guy was his own demeanor, no remorse,
Like no emotions.
narcissistic. Oh, I told her this and that, so I used reverse psychology on her, and
He
she
actually used the word reverse psychology.
several times, and I was like,
My goodness.
dude. Yes, so I've done this before. I've done it before. So
Huh?
in the past, I've had bad experiences with runs girls and prostitutes.
You're kidding
So
me.
I just lie to people use psychology. And when she got there, I now told her that the job is going to involve hiding hard drugs in the farm. And I told her, is she okay? And she says okay. And then I eventually told her at that point that I'm using reverse psychology for her, that I want to have sex. And she said okay.
Uh-uh.
And and then I took her the
Really?
condom. I took her the condom and she started shouting. And then she picked the stabilizer and tried to use it to hit me. And then went to pick it. And then that's,
Like,
dude, it don't even make
not
sense.
making no
It don't
sense.
even, it's better for you just to be quiet than to be here talking rubbish. But anyway, that's my point is that there's a culture of it's a rape culture
Yeah.
that exists. But I find that in countries where the law enforcement is not doing what it's supposed to do, it's even worse. Because who are you going to call?
Nobody.
And when you even go to your family and friends after the fact, it's like, keep it quiet. I don't want anybody to know
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
happened
don't
to
tell
you.
anybody.
It's embarrassing. It's shame.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. So then you are suffering in
That
silence.
that is, yeah, and it's a double suffering. So you're not only
Yes,
suffering the abuse that just happened to you, but you're also suffering the experience
absolutely.
of keeping
You
it a secret for the rest of your life.
right.
I
So
want to
myths and misconceptions about it,
Mhm.
include It could be somebody you know or somebody you don't know, but more
Mm.
likely somebody you know and trust.
Yes,
You don't have to
absolutely.
wear anything, be anywhere, or do anything
No,
for it to occur. It often occurs
absolutely.
without too much prior warning. Sometimes you can have a little red flags when you think about it in hindsight, but sometimes it can literally be a opportunity um, encounter. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Whereby
Yeah.
the person just took an opportunity when it presented itself, and so there's no way for you to pre-plan or be prepared. The best you can do is hopefully safeguard yourself to avoid being in a position, and even if you are, to be able to get out of it safely as you can. Train our sons to be mindful about not being forceful when you want to have encounters. There are many people who are willing to have encounters without any strings, even for
Yeah.
free. That you can go and meet if it's choking you like that.
If
Do you see
it's
what I'm
like
saying?
doing you
Like
like
it's
that,
it's
get
not
do
it's
the
not
right
that deep.
thing.
It's not that, especially now in
Eh,
this in this day and age where the second morality
Social.
has changed. Like people talk about things. Access to these things is so, like, I mean,
It's all
before,
over. Like you don't need to struggle for it anymore. Like
it's
the
even
days of our
free.
parents
It's
or anybody
free. It's
is
free.
freely
Forget about saying you
given.
want to go
So
and pick.
like,
You want to go and pick up a sex
don't
worker.
do
You don't
that.
have to even go that far. There's people that will do for free,
Mhm.
free,
Do the
willingly,
right
without any
thing. Do
problem.
the
If
right
you are if you
thing.
are game, they are game. If you like, that's what you want to do. That's
Yeah.
for your pocket. Please do not
Yeah. Do the right
force,
thing. Do the right thing. Be kind.
intimidate, because it boggles my mind. Like, you have a mother. Would you want someone to do that to your mom?
Mhm.
Even if you claim you don't have a
If let's
female
assume you don't
sister,
have a sister
you
or
will you
auntie,
must you must have
but you
somebody
must
gave
have
birth
a
to you.
mother.
Somebody gave
Very
birth to you.
important. Somebody gave birth to
Even
you.
if she's not alive
Yes.
anymore, whatever. Somebody gave birth to you. Do you want someone to do that to your mother? You must have cousins. You must have sisters, brothers, uncles, whatever. Is that what you're doing? Would you
Relative,
want someone to do
somebody.
that to somebody you love, or to even yourself? As a man, do you want someone to violate you that
Mm-hmm.
way?
Mm-hmm.
Then why would you do that to somebody else?
It's a very good question.
you know, no means no. Oh, she's playing hard to get. No, 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 no.
Mm-mm.
Please don't use that hard to get level. She says she's not interested. Leave it like that.
Leave it like that.
And
Absolutely.
even if you don't even talk to her about being interested, you just see
Mm-hmm.
somebody. Oh, I have to go. I want to go and take advantage. Why? Why do I have to walk down the street with now one already pre-dialed in my pocket?
Yeah.
And the first time I've seen somebody, I've already pressed it. I have to hang
And
up.
even
Like,
if she's
why?
dressed provocatively, it
Oh,
does not give you the consent to do nothing.
exactly,
None of
exactly.
your business. And just ask, get
Right.
consent. Period.
Absolutely,
I mean, I have done
absolutely.
an episode. I did a series on sexual violence, and actually, that's how I started out this podcast last year. So the first season, the very first
I
five
haven't seen all of them. I
episodes.
have to go back and watch them actually.
Yeah, check it out. Like the first five episodes, and I encourage listeners of this episode to go listen to that. The first five episodes of season one is all about sexual violence and talk about so many different things, including statistics,
Mm.
definition, how people react, some of the excuses, and why certain statements, is not appropriate when somebody
Mm.
tells you that they've been abused, or even when somebody says, "Oh yeah, that's rape," and that's not rape. There's so many things that I walk through in the first those five episodes. So I
Mhm.
really hope people go check it out after listening to this one. I want
First and foremost, it's never your fault.
yes,
It is never your fault.
fault.
It doesn't matter where you were. Didn't matter for me. Doesn't matter what you were doing, what
Okay.
you didn't do. Doesn't matter what you wore or what you said. It's never your fault when somebody else chooses to assault you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, don't be ashamed. Don't let them push their shame that they should be ashamed of what they're doing on
Mm-hmm.
you and then steal your voice, because that shame keeps people silent. And because there's this taboo and people don't talk about it, it's like a stigma, right? People
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about it, they can't share with anybody, and often don't get help about it. And it just carried out with them, right? Of course, for me, it affected the way I am around people. I've learned to mask it really well, whereby you may not even notice like I can walk. I can be walking on the street or walking into a room. I've already found my exit. It has become so
Wow.
natural to me that whenever I enter a room, I've already found my way out of that room. Back alleys, like I'm walking, but maybe it's less populated areas. I'm already looking. I've from the extreme left to extreme right of the building, even in the alleys. I don't walk into what I cannot see.
Yeah.
If I'm going to walk somewhere and there's a corner or there's something blocking, I never walk straight. It's the way you can angle yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, do self-defense classes.